We've got Kendrick Davis and Nathan Sobey. It's an MVP matchup. If you haven't tried Pick 'em on Dabble before, it's the new way to play. You choose more or less on player props. It's that simple. You can copy my Pick 'em from my profile with a single tap or make your own. If you are having a dabble on the game tonight, remember to gamble responsibly, and I'll see you in the Dabble Banter channels.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
You got two very good teams with two very good coaches and a host of great players.
AD off and running. Excitement machine. Xavier Cook. Here's McWatch. Nice!
Needed someone to kind of grab the game by the horns.
Audacious from Kendrick Davis.
And that's why he's very well be on his way to winning his first MVP.
In the MVP conversation, there's so many shores to a who. No one likes to shoot the three at South East Melbourne more than Foxwell.
Oh.
Wow! Another one. Three ball hit for Glover. Oh!
Hello and welcome to the Hungry Jacks NBL. We're in for some huge round 20 action. A massive afternoon of Sunday hoops is upon us. Two of the hottest teams going head-to-head. Second placed South East Melbourne Phoenix hosting the third placed Sydney Kings at John Cain Arena. But this is about more than today. It could shape the top of our ladder as we edge closer and closer to finals. I'm joined courtside by Andrew Gaze and Derek Rucker. Welcome in, guys. Gazy, these are two teams who've been absolutely surging since round 12.
They're absolutely white hot, particularly the Sydney Kings with their 7-in-a-row win streak. But this South East Melbourne Phoenix team has been fantastic the entire season. Play a high-octane brand of basketball, and for whatever reason, Brian Gordon's been known as the defensive guru coach. Well, they have absolutely spifflicated him on the scoreboard. They're giving up 118 points on average across 2 games. They need to do something about that if they're going to get a win.
Well, these are the two best offensive teams in the competition. Sydney coming to this one, however, as #1 defensively. And if we look at the form ladder since round 12, well, there's no doubt who the two hottest teams are. The Kings are getting it done basically behind Kendrick Davis, and the Phoenix, well, they're 11-4 in that stint.
When you look at those numbers, Derek, do you think we could potentially be looking at a championship preview?
There's no doubt, Steph. If you were a betting person, you would go with one of these two teams to appear in the championship series. But look what's happened head-to-head this season, Andrew.
Yes,
the Kings have not been able to control Southeast Melbourne. Momentum and tempo is going to be vital in today's game.
And the dynamic changed with the introduction of Torrey Craig, NBA's player for a long period of time. And he's that stereotypical stopper that can guard multiple positions that Coach Gordon loves.
Today's game also represents a number of awards battles. Coach of the Year candidates and Josh King and Brian Gordon. I want to put to both of you, who is your pick?
This is tough, and they've both had to build these teams from different foundations. I've got it head-to-head. Gordon slightly ahead, but I could understand arguments for Josh King. They've both been brilliant, Andrew.
And they say I sit on the fence. I'm going to go out there and say Josh King for the body of work over the entire season. But actually, Derek, you're spot on. No one's going to lose a second of sleep if Brian Gordon does win that, because the job that he's done building this team back from a tough start has been nothing short of exceptional.
And we have to talk about the MVP race as well. Bryce Conn's still eyeing MVP at number 6, but boy, Kendrick Davis is coming up fast behind him.
He certainly is, and he's had a terrific season, and Kendrick's making a habit of really playing good basketball in the second half of the season. Look at those numbers. I think Sobey's been terrific. He's going to finish 3rd, but the battle for the MVP is going to be as close as it's ever been. In fact, I'll say it will go back to 1997, a hotly contested battle where you stole my MVP.
Let it go, Derek.
I can't. I don't move on.
Let it go, my friend.
Something you've got to work through there, Derek.
No, but I think you're spot on. It's a clear top 3. And at the midway point, it was Bryce Cotton and Daylight.
Yeah.
Kendrick Davis has shortened that gap, and I wouldn't be surprised that he overruns the favourite.
It doesn't get much better than that. Let's get over to Felix with our starting lineups.
Thank you, Steph. What a game we've got in store for this Sunday. The starters for the Kings: Jalen Galloway, McQuatch Maluach, Kendrick Davis, Xavier Cooks, and the big man in the middle, Tim Suarez, will round it out for the Sydney Kings. And the red-hot South East Melbourne Phoenix, led by the superstar Nathan Sobey, Owen Foxwell, John Brown III, Wezawandu, and the big man, Jordan Hunter. Second versus third, and as Steph said, so much on the line. Not just jostling for finals position, but award season around the corner. Coach of the year, will it be Josh King? Will it be Brian Gorgev? The sixth man of the year, Angus Glover, Quat Noy, John Brown III. He's got that one wrapped up for Defensive Player of the Year. But Derek Rucker, Andrew Gaze, we've had to wait all week for this one, but dare I say, the game of the season. We're underway, and who better to get us started than John Brown? Foxwell up top. Hunter, he stroked it from outside this year. He's off on his first attempt.
Wow, that's been their calling card this season, Derek. The work that they do on the offensive board has been a big part of their success this season. Not so great on the defensive boards, but certainly on the offensive boards, giving their teams a number of second chance opportunities.
Davis off on his first attempt. Both of these teams with an ability to catch fire from the outside. Almost another offensive board early.
And they're such an effort-based team with their success, Southeast Melbourne, and already they've had their hands on 2 offensive rebounds.
Cooks gets deep into the paint. And an easy 2.
Tough matchup there for Jordy Hunter, and Xavier Cooks is really finding his way deep into this NBL26 season.
2 hottest teams in the competition when you look at recent form, especially in the back half of the year. Sobey, a wonder the passes tip, finds Hunter. Foxwell, nice pass through the legs, and Hunter with a silky finish.
Smooth and smart play there by Hunter to give up the first 3, and he got something better on the back end as Cooks gets to the bucket, and that's inexcusable for Southeast Melbourne after a made bucket to allow a layup on the other end.
Kings like to get up and down, these 2 teams, 1 and 2 in scoring. But Derek, as you look at it, who's the advantage go to? To me, I think that the Sydney Kings got to be a little bit more selective.
Kendrick Davis slicing his way through the rim.
And Kendrick says, select that, Andrew. We are willing to push the basketball, but I agree with you. The margin for error is really precarious for the Sydney Kings if they want to go up and down with the Phoenix. Sobey's down behind play.
Southeast Melbourne, a man down in transition. Davis, Maluach wide open on the wing. That's way off. A 1-2 on the break.
Oh,
Foxwell, another beautiful bounce pass. He's toying with him, Ruff.
Wow. 2 terrific dimes from Foxwell, and he's firmly established himself as the premier player in this competition, and it's up and down, Drew.
It is, and both teams willing to shoot the early 3, and they've both got bigs that can stretch the floor. Suarez is an elite 3-point shooter. Brown in the mid-range. That's very much his bread and butter as well.
And that'll mark the first bucket for Southeast Melbourne that wasn't assisted by Foxwell. 4 assists in the opening 3 minutes this quarter for the young fella.
Well, just to shout out his brother over in the collegiate system in America. I think he's second in the nation in assists per game.
Look away now, Gonzaga fans. Maluach, nice little fake, gets the bucket.
Drew, is anybody going to get a stop?
We hope not.
At this tempo, this pace, it's the first 2 games they've played this season. It's been like this, and it's entertaining. Whoever can establish some sort of authority on the defensive end is going to get that first advantage.
Sobey gets the luck of the bounce and makes him pay full price.
And Felix, someone has to get a handle on John Brown III. He's got 6 points. He's had his hands on almost every missed shot that the Phoenix have taken. That one there, he flips it out as we look at the Amy replay. Foxwell gets to the rack, and smart play by Foxwell. He realizes he may not make the shot, but just get it up there. And then Brown is able to flick it out to Sobey, who knocks down the corner 3.
Go, guys. Sometimes their best offense this season has been the second shot. Just get a shot up there, let the big boys go get it. And it's not just the big boys either. You know, Foxwell gets in there, chips away. That's just way too easy. One-on-one from the sideline. Easy bucket.
A tough drive by Galloway. And John Brown, the third, to your point, has had some games with double-figure offensive rebounds this year. Sobey is fouled on the three-point line. South East Melbourne continue to pour in the points.
Malawatch is in that mould that Brian Gorge is teaching, is how to be just a complete bull on the defensive end. And when you get someone so hyped up to focus in on someone, they can get a little bit too close that time and a little overzealous, draws a foul. And with Sobey's experience, he's going to be able to manufacture ways to get to the free throw line.
Good on the first. Andrew, may I ask you, with that new rule where you can't stand under the players, how many points would you have averaged if that rule was back then? Because you watch some of the replays of you shooting the basketball, you got a bit of elevation, and they certainly enjoy creeping up under.
In fairness, I did have a knack of spreading the legs to make sure that someone was actually there to try and draw a foul.
And the referee certainly had a knack for looking after you also.
Wow. And Vince Carter, I remember he didn't take too kindly to that behaviour. And
just right across the road.
But no, it's for the better. There's too many injuries, and you've got to protect the shooter. And what a substitution they've got with Matthew Dellavedova with all his experience coming in. And against extended defense, he's not going to wow you with blistering pace, but control and basketball IQ is what Matthew Dellavedova will deliver.
Dellavedova's legs getting a bit of a mid-season. Suarez just right by Hunter to the rim.
He's been underappreciated and under-acknowledged this season. His contribution, Tim Suarez, on both ends of the floor. And Sobey is like, I'm trying to get myself heated up in this game.
And to many, that may appear a bad shot, but that is the way that the Phoenix play.
And that's a great point, Felix, because they're accepting of how Nathan Sobey chooses to be aggressive.
And in fairness, I think that this season, Nathan Sobey has been a little more selective than what we've seen in lesser teams where he thinks he's just got to come out and dominate. He's really played well within the system, and the system has worked well for him. It's been a beautiful balance, but what happens here is they're so aggressive on the O boards, they can get a little exposed in the defensive transition.
Dellavedova just looking to bury Glover under the rim.
And since he's come back from the concussion symptoms, he's been very good. He's playing a nice glue-type role on the offensive end.
Mid-range off that time for John Brown. Corey Craig pressured in the backcourt by the next star, Malik Lewis. Finds his way to the rim, out of control, will be bailed out with the foul.
You're right, Felix. He was out of control, and there was contact, Drew, but maybe a slight bailout by the referees.
Yeah, he didn't look like he had total control. But these early stages, first 5 minutes of the first quarter, you look for quality of shot that you're going to produce. And right now, the Sydney Kings, they're high-quality shots they're getting, particularly off the bounce or the underneath out-of-bounds play.
Yeah. Well, they're 8 of 11 from the field, and that is alarming for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix.
Kendrick Davis locked in an MVP battle with Bryce Cotton, who scored 17 points last night in this venue in a win over Melbourne, so a big effort from him tonight could push him further, his case. Dellavedova through the middle, little floaters off. Foxwell, another nice bounce pass, and nice finish from Malik Lewis. 5 assists.
And what beautiful execution by Foxwell to recognise Lewis was running and reward the big fella.
Craig straight to the rim, unguarded.
Well, there's been a lot of that.
The points in the paint right now for Sydney is really dominating, and Southeast Melbourne Phoenix just have not come out. Lewis knocks down a 3-ball.
And the pressure on the three-point line that the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix put on other teams.
Well, the maturity and the growth of Lewis, that's a part of his game that really lacked the consistency, but you've seen signs this season that he's shooting it with great confidence and really picking his spots and become a lot more efficient and a threat from the three-point line.
Sobey will check out of the ball game, but bad news to Sydney. It's Tim Clark who steps in, and Galloway with a nice little step-back triple.
The past 5 weeks, he's taken this game to another level, especially in the absence of Bull Quall, who unfortunately we've lost for the rest of the season. doing a great job, and so many fans around the NBL Bull Ball. Hope you get better soon.
Shot clock in single figures. Foxwell, Glover, he'll try his luck from the outside. That's off.
John Brown again, hands on the ball, causing problems for Sydney, rebounding the ball defensively, and Kendrick Davis, of course, wants a review of this.
Ooh, I think he'd lose the review if they did decide to do it.
It's not worthy anyway right now, Felix.
John Brown the third, just with the one rebound to his name at the moment, but he's contested about 6 of them. Noy, hard in the paint. Rails off. Lewis pushing his way through. Can't get the finish. He'll get his own board. Go back up. He's up as well. The Sydney Kings with a 1-point lead, although it feels like South East Melbourne should be ahead. It's Kendrick Davis with a nice left-hand finish.
Well, Andrew, right now, if you're a defender on the ball, you must be on high alert because everybody is ultra aggressive with the basketball, in particular trying to get to the rim.
It seems like that Phoenix are real conscious of guarding the three-point line, but right now, they're just getting too easy buckets. The Sydney Kings that are around the rim. Everyone's just getting beat off the dribble and high percentage stuff.
Nice skip pass from Davis. Noy in the corner. Oh, my. This knocks it down and gives his trademark triple back to his bench. 6-point lead to the Kings.
Well, 6th man of the year, crime on crime there. As Noy knocks one down over Glover.
You reckon that's in the mind of both players? I'd probably say it's certainly in the mind of Clark North.
Yeah.
Clark with a nice little turnaround. Gets the bucket to go and one. Ian Clark, you might be best to talk on this, Drewy, but there's a bit of grey going in that.
Yeah.
I think it's on more display at the moment than it has been in the past.
He usually has the braids.
Yeah, well, he told me before the game that his hairdresser, the Braidmeister, wasn't able to get to the venue today. So he's going odd not the row.
The ladder predictor. There is no one in this arena that would love the ladder predictor more than our man Andrew Gaze, who is a data aficionado. You can see he's got it up on his screen at the moment. How many sort of combinations have you made so far, Drew?
Well, I think even AI and the data predictor is going to have problems with the run home, but it's a fun way to follow the progress in this exciting run into the playoffs.
Billy's going deep into the paint. That layup's off. Mitchell, who's really carved out a role for himself for the Phoenix in the back end of this year, is into the ball game. Clark heavily contested. Daniel Foster chasing down the loose offensive rebound, draw contact in the process.
Foster's another one of those surprises that we've seen. Felix, you and I saw him playing for Keeler in the NBL 1.
Well, I had a great view, Andrew, because you didn't put me on the court.
Well, there's a very solid reason for that. But we all thought here's a potential real solid NBL player, but he has come on and found himself a nice niche here, a big guard that can shoot the ball. Promising career ahead.
Josh King not afraid to get deep into his bench as well, such as the style they play and how taxing it is on the body of his players. Noy, hard left-hand drive, well guarded by Mitchell, but the official will find contact. Josh King's looking towards his bench and he's looking towards the commentary booth, maybe whether that one's a challenge.
Well, again, a tough matchup there for DJ Mitchell, isolated out beyond the three-point line against a really tough offensive player, and Noy can go both ways with the basketball. He can square up and shoot the three, and he attacks there, draws the foul.
And we see the Snapchat seats. I assume that those gentlemen are on Snapchat right now. It's Mitch Hibbard there, who began his journey in the world of Australian rules football. He played for North Melbourne and Essendon and made a name for himself in the AFL, and now he's getting widespread recognition.
DJ Mitchell's a great story, Derek, in that start of the season, he had quite a few DNPs.
Yeah.
And you can, a guy like that can drop the lip and be a challenge, but it seems like he's stayed with it, got in late in a few games, hit some threes, and he's really gone ahead of the Ketchelia in the rotation.
Clark up top off the Mitchell screen. Glover, a nice pass. Mitchell fading away. Can't get that one to go. Robertson will wrestle it back in bounds.
Great hands by Robertson.
Another player who's carved out a bit more of a roll and heavy contact on the drive. It'll go and whistle.
I'm shocked that that was not blown a foul as DJ Mitchell
smarting after it. And I hear you, Tyler Robertson. He's looking at the referee like, what?
And it looked to be a lot of ball there. It certainly didn't look like it in real time.
That's a lot of ball when Tyler Robinson's the one that was driving into the defender. Sometimes hard to tell on those angles from underneath the basket, but it looks like he had pretty decent defensive position.
Good call by the official. Craig. And the smaller Foster fades away bucket.
Tough matchup without a show of early help. Leaving Foster out there, and Torrey Craig takes advantage.
Lewis, countered by the much smaller Bruce, finds the sharpshooter on the outside in Mitchell.
You cannot help off of him. He shoots the ball too well, and that's why he's in the lineup.
2-point lead to the Sydney Kings. Guatnoy makes that 4.
Oh, this is... I thought there's no chance we're going to see these two teams in the hundreds. Well, they're on track and some.
Shot clock is off. 12 seconds remain. Clark, nice cross back. Deep into the paint. Foster from the outside. Last shot. Can't get it to fall, and the Kings will get one last look at it. Robertson pulls up. That one is off. A 4-point lead to the Sydney Kings in a half where defense was forgotten for all intents and purposes. Kendrick Davis starting well. All thanks to Choice Hotels. What a city, what a stadium, and what a game we have got on the line here. Second versus third. This one is going to go down to the wire. We'll see you in a moment.
Welcome back to John Payne Arena, where the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix trail the Sydney Kings by 4 points. A tough tussle as we anticipated. I was listening in to Josh King in that timeout. He says he's happy with the intensity. He says they need to get more stops if they want to reclaim the second quarter.
Thank you, Steph. What a game we've got here. And Derek, if you come up against the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, there's one thing you have to keep in control.
You have to secure the basketball. You can't afford to turn it over and let the Phoenix get out on the break. Sydney in that first quarter had 0 turnovers, and that allowed them to play at the pace, and they continue to pound the Phoenix in the paint. 22 first quarter points in the paint for the Sydney Kings.
It's a big number, and what they're doing is that they are preventing the Phoenix to get into that established extended defense. They're playing at such a pace that the transition, the defensive transition of the Phoenix has really been called into question. So it's a strategy that can be dangerous against a team that likes to play so quick, but they're almost beating the Phoenix at their own game.
Now, Felix, in Phoenix's favor is they are staying true. They've got 5 offensive rebounds, and that helps balance out that possession equation so that they're able to stay in this game, down 6 at the moment, however.
That's encouraging sign for Xavier Cooks, who's had his struggles at the free throw line. Nothing but net in the last 2.
Did not look like missing.
And again, one of the key things with having Dellavedova and Kendrick Davis in your team is they provide ball security and they provide organization. 2 things that are vital if you're going to try and knock off the Phoenix, as Malik Lewis applies some pressure in the backcourt.
Well, you'd expect plenty of chess moves between the 2 frontrunners for Coach of the Year, and the legend Brian Goorjian and the relatively new Josh King, who's worked wonders with this Phoenix lineup that many predicted at the bottom of the table. A nice pass there. Well, one of the MVP frontrunners in Davis.
We saw some special moments from Foxwell down the other end, but that's just knowing your teammate and reading the defense. Knew there was going to be no help. It's a hook pass, somewhat of a blind hook pass for the little fella in the traffic, but it's on point.
So he'll try and go back at it on that end successfully.
So tough.
Davis, nice spin back baseline.
He's a wizard with the basketball, Andrew. Deadly with that through-the-leg spin move that we saw him utilize there. And I thought Phoenix actually did a decent job of containing him. But he puts so much pressure on your defensive unit.
Yeah, he does, and he's a leader at the mid-range, so you've got to stay so connected to him because he can pull up and stick it in your eye. Kind of like that. Coming from behind, and he gets that deep. Hard not to foul him.
He's dominating early. And again, he comes here. Hunter does a decent job, but again, hands down. You got to get hands up, Jordy, to discourage that type of play.
You say decent job, but for me, I think he's got to be a lot higher. Don't let him get that deep.
I did say decent, not great.
And you did allude before, you alluded to earlier the fact that you've always got to be alert with Kendrick Davis. At every single, you step away for a second just like that, and he'll get out on the break. And that's going to be the easiest look that he gets of the night. And a timeout to Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. Josh King has seen enough.
Well, this is just ridiculous scoring by the Kings. They're at 66%, 3 of 6, 50% from the three-point line, 17 of 25. That's a big number.
It's a sellout here tonight, and there's been plenty of sellouts across the NBL, not just this year, but years previous, and so many, in fact, that our millionth fan walked through the doors this evening.
What a milestone. 1 million fans through the doors for NBL26, and this is our 1 million man here. Mason, congratulations. Were you a bit surprised when you came in and found out?
Very surprised. It was very exciting, though.
And you've come with mum and dad. Were they a bit jealous that they weren't number 1 million?
Yeah, I think that, yeah, they're pretty jealous, yep.
How long have you been a Phoenix fan?
5 years.
And who's your favourite player?
Wes Awundu.
And Mason, you've won tickets to a final. Who do you think you're going to bring with you?
I think that Mum's going to sit with me on courtside for the first half, and then Dad will sit with me on courtside in the second half.
Sitting on the fence, that's a good way to play it. We love it. Congratulations, Mason.
Thank you.
Oh, what a little legend. And you know what? You always like to see that go to the right person. I was out there before. I met him and his parents. Fantastic. Real Phoenix faithful and so deserving. And I really hope they enjoy the finals game they're going to get to go to. A 10-point lead to the Sydney Kings here.
Phoenix only had the 1 turnover in that first quarter. They've already had 2 to start this one.
Snowby off from the first three-point line, but he get another offensive rebound to the Phoenix. Hunter backing down Suarez right in the middle of the paint, too easy.
And just on that, 62 points and 1 turnover combined in that first quarter. It does indicate and suggest that the defense is perhaps not at the level of intensity that is required.
Suarez tries to go back at Hunter and gets it stripped away. Sobey piercing through the defense, a little off, but you can be a little off when you've got John Brown III hunting it down. Sobey wide open from the corner, that's off as well. But yet another offensive rebound. Foxwell will get his turn at it. That's good. You can only give them so many chances, Derek.
Well, timeout to the Sydney Kings, and by my count, that's 10 points attributable to offensive rebounding. The Amy replay, Sobey no good from the corner, and Lewis is there to clean it up. And we know Foxwell, he's a dead eye from the three-point line when he's that wide open.
And we mentioned it as we came in from quarter time, but the Sydney Kings right now doing virtually everything right apart from keeping them off the offensive boards.
And the danger, Felix, is Southeast Melbourne can just rack up runs. They can go on a 20-5 run and totally change the complexion of the basketball game.
Hey, we've been talking awards season right around the corner. Two of the front runners, well, the two front runners, Angus Glover and Quatnoy, spoke earlier on what that Sixth Man of the Year means.
Quatnoy is on the floor today. He's also in contention for Best Sixth Man. You used to be teammates. What's your relationship with him like?
Yeah, I mean, me and Quat, a lot of people don't know, but we played juniors all together, against each other, with each other, probably since about the age of 12. So we've known each other a very long time, and he's obviously a very worthy recipient as well. So, yeah, I'll be happy either way, to be honest. Yeah.
No, that's my guy, man. We won a championship together. We've been playing together since we were like 12 years old. That's great player, great shooter. Nothing but respect for him. It comes down to me and Angus. He's playing very well. I'm playing very well. So I think tonight's the decider who wins that trophy. But most importantly, I just want to get the win.
You look at the respect between these two players when they're going for such an award. If only in 1997 there was the same sort of respect between you two, Andrew, as you ran away with the MVP with Derek Rucker in your dust.
Well, Derek would dispute the fact that I was a worthy winner on that particular occasion.
True.
But more important in 97 and was the NBL Championship.
Ooh, yep.
So that's, it's nice, the individual awards, but it sounds a bit cliche, but you get far more satisfaction from the team result.
It's easy to diminish one when you've won 7 of them. Davis, pressured by Foxwell. Nice pass, too hot to handle for Cooks.
And that's uncharacteristic for Xavier Cooks.
And a nice pass there, a one-two, off.
Didn't need to.
Should have dunked it.
And Cooks deep into the paint, finds Galloway. He's already hit one from the outside, make that 2.
Such a good player, Xavier Cooks. Gets himself into trouble, but he's skilled enough and with good enough vision to make a pass to free himself of a precarious situation. He's also taken a knee to the left quad, so he's a bit ginger.
Do you have that on Deli or you have that on Cooks pushing him? I have it. I have it. Okay.
That's no push by Cooks.
It looked like a pretty clear foul.
The official did call the foul on Dellavedova, but it's going to be a coach's challenge here.
Was the foul called on Dellavedova?
The foul appeared to be, you would assume it was called on Dellavedova based on the vision that we saw there, and it looked like the official did say that.
Well, the officials came together and one actually asked, was it on the push on Xavier Cooks? Now, I don't see there's a little push by Cooks.
I think that's an offensive foul on Hunter. If we're going by how we've been calling it, Hunter never establishes himself.
Well, it wasn't even really a screen, was it?
No.
In fact, to me, it's almost a case for a no call.
Right. So the foul has been called Dellavedova on Hunter, so it's going to be unsuccessful on that. And it looks like the Sydney Kings were confused there, thinking that it was a push from Xavier Cooks.
But Andrew, I agree with you. That was just a play-on situation. That's clumsy and awkward by both players.
Yeah. Unusual one there, and Andrew Bogut certainly not happy with it, spending a bit of time talking to the official in the timeout.
You're not going to call every little bit of contact.
Well, you kind of did. You kind of did on that situation.
Yeah.
That was a level of contact to me that, yeah, technically it was the right call, but to me that's one that there's no advantage really gained by either of the players. So play on for mine.
Right now, Jalen Galloway having a great impact in this game. He's got 8 points on 3 of 3 shooting. Got a few assists.
And Galloway having a really strong finish to the season. We see this every time a top team makes a run. There's always someone who steps up outside of that regular group. Will it be Jalen Galloway? A one-do. Mismatch on Davis down low. Gets through, well guarded by Davis, but who other? John Brown III cleans it up.
Well, they average 16 offensive boards a game, the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, and that leads the league. And they've already got 8. in this one.
Turnover for the Kings, and they pay full price at the hand of Wezawundu.
A quick 5-0 run out of that stoppage and play. And this is what we talk about. This is the danger of the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix.
10-point lead has been whittled down to 3. Galloway with the offensive board. Torrey Craig will try his luck from outside. That's off as well. Davis, the unlikeliest of customers with the rebound. And Torrey Craig will get another look at it, and that's off. In out of jail free card for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. And the basket will be waved off. The officials found a foul before it.
He took out John Brown on the rebound. No basket, White 2.
Now, if the official, if they had their time over, they'd probably let that one go because it was going to be an easy 2. But it was Torrey Craig just coming in, trying to box out, because clearly that's been the message from Brian Goorjian, a point of emphasis, and Torrey Craig just a little overzealous on that one.
But it was a smart play because he realized Brown III had inside position on Dellavedova. Oh, boy.
Torrey Craig will pick up his second in quick succession there, getting his feet tangled up with Foxwell. Only the 2 fouls so far to his name, so nothing too concerning at the moment.
Well, Malawach has 2 fouls, and now Craig has 2 fouls. And one of the strengths of the Sydney Kings is this wing depth, as is the strength of the Phoenix. But it's going to be vital that Brian Goorjian have at least Craig or Malawach accessible in the second half.
Foxwell up top, shot clock into single figures. Hunter gets Galloway out of his shoes. Deep into the paint, step through, and a nice point.
That's what happens when you have to have a hard closeout. He's got enough ball handling skill.
Davis and Foxwell into it, Drew.
And we've seen a little bit between them before. Kendrick Davis looking to get some serious revenge from the three-point line. It doesn't go.
I like when it gets personal, Andrew.
Two superstars of our league. Foxwell tries his luck from outside. That's off. Noy has the mismatch. Loses the rock, and it'll go the other way.
Well, no sense in looking at the bench because your challengers are gone. And Noy's got to be better with the basketball in that instance, knowing that the little guy is going to take a risk defensively.
They didn't need to hurry. Had a size advantage. Just needed to try for the quick spin, but just needed a drop step and just overpower the little fella.
One-point lead to the Sydney Kings. Lewis can't eat into the margin. Davis turns on the Jets through the paint. Gets his own rebound and missed that attempt as well. And the Phoenix are out the other way. Foxwell, nice left-hand scoop.
He's slippery and very intelligent with how he chooses to finish. Again, John Brown. That's a foul.
Just a menace on the defensive end. And the offensive end. The fans are on their feet, and John Brown is fired up.
And that's the incorrect call, Drew.
Yeah, he got away with one early on. A hard reaching foul first.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not sure he actually made contact. So here we see it first. So right there, I thought there was a crossing arm on Brown. And yeah, Xavier Cooks raises the arm, but I don't think he made contact.
Certainly seemed to accentuate the contact a bit, and maybe there's an Academy Award in the future, but...
2 fouls now on Xavier Cooks, and we're only midway through this second quarter. And with the high possession count and the speed of this game, certainly seems like we played a lot longer than that, Felix.
And such an even spread of scoring across both these teams. No player in the game is up to double figures as of yet. Brown. Mid-range is off. Another offensive rebound. Foxwell's going to be fouled, and he'll go to the line.
10 offensive rebounds now for the Phoenix. And it's a tough situation right now for the Kings. As without Suarez on the floor, they are a much smaller team. But Phoenix are similar, but you just got to get after the basketball.
delay of game warning there as well. But 100-year tour of the Harlem Globetrotters. It's been 100 years of thrills, 100 years of laughs, and 100 years of joy. The Harlem Globetrotters are coming to your city, so you better watch out. This is your only chance to be a part of the 100-year tour across Australia and New Zealand for our Kiwi brethren listening across the pond. Don't miss your chance to be part of the legacy.
Troy Craig has come in and that's his third personal foul. So he's had to take a spell.
Maluach with 2 to his name as well will have to come into the game. And a foul there, and Kendrick Davis appeared to kick Foxwell while he was on the ground. Josh King is pleading for a replay. Emotion spilling over at John Cain Arena.
And both coaches.
And Josh King is irate at the moment. He saw what he believed to be a kick.
Josh King had gone all the way down to the Sydney Kings end of the sideline.
And as we have a look to the replay here, as you look to the corner of your screen, emotion spilled over, and in real time...
There's no kick. There is no kick by Kendrick Davis.
In real time, it looked to be one, but as we slow it down...
And this is just...
And there's the second look is what they're going to be looking at. I agree with you,
No,
Andrew.
but the other angle, he doesn't make any contact with it, so I don't think there's much to fear if you're Kendrick Davis. But this is Foxwell doing his job. He's got a league MVP candidate, and he's just trying to be pesky and annoying and getting Davis to bite, and he bit. Now, whether or not there should have been a call on Foxwell earlier, that's debatable, but Kendrick Davis can't have this type of reaction.
And as we watch the motion here, I agree with you, there was very little malice in it. That's what they're going to look at. His other foot was off the ground, so it looked like he was off bounds.
Don't walk away, woman.
I know, but on, he kicked. I saw it.
We reflect ball.
I understand.
They got tangled up.
Yeah. I understand what you got on. If he keeps, I got it. If he keeps going, then we get in trouble. I know it's not you.
So there was a little something there, Andrew.
I call it a push rather than a kick.
It was a
push.
You know, in golf, when you got a gimme right next to the hole and you just tap it in, you just putt it in, I think that's what it was. So with the stakes of the game, I think a good call by the official to let that one roll. But as you said, Andrew, Foxwell can't convert on that one, but is getting under the skin of Kendrick Davis. The crowd rings out with boos, and more contact. Davis is up, and he is fired up.
Well, there's history
emotions
with
are
these
overflowing. A technical has been called.
Double technical, so Sobey's going to wear one.
And earlier in the season, we saw these two guys go at it. Davis comes down, and they get tangled up.
And again, no malice on the attempt there from Sobey.
Okay, nothing in it. Really nothing in it. A lot to do about nothing.
Technical foul.
I liked it.
Technical foul. Side ball.
The technical fouls issued on both Nathan Sobey and Kendrick Davis. And right now, Brian Gorgian is going to have to get his superstar emotions in check.
What it is, this is by design by Foxwell. Off the ball, no help, in his grill, taking away his freedom of movement. And
that man,
learn to deal with it.
That man that we just saw on the screen, that's why he's here. This is time for Matthew Dellavedova to step up, control the offense, get everybody emotionally regulated, and provide the leadership and settle Kendrick down.
Wow, Brian Gorgian, see, he's just abused Foxwell. And he's had a few goes at it. But you know what this does? This builds a bond with your MVP. Brian Gorgian intentionally flying the flag for his superstar and is prepared to wear the tech so his guy knows, I got your back.
1,000% correct, Andrew. You wear it right now. This point is meaningless in the context of a pursuit of a championship.
And as you say, Kendrick Davis, if he's going to be an MVP this year, how does he respond to this? The crowd is well and truly taking part now. Boos ringing out throughout the arena. Brian Gorgian, as Andrew and Derek just said, flying the flag for his superstar, his team's leader.
And Derek, I don't know about you, but I've been on the end of one of those F-U's from Brian Gorgian during a game.
Oh, no doubt.
And it's not that it's a personal thing. It's more about just making sure that You know whose side I'm on.
Yep. Tensions are high in John Cain Arena, second versus third, the biggest game of the round. Davis pulls up. Wow! And one 4-point play. What an answer from Kendrick Davis.
Steps up immediately with a poor percentage shot. But this is the talent of the man. He's able just to take it on himself. He's wheeling, he's dealing. This is bad basketball, let's be honest, Andrew. But he just raises up because he's so skilled and one from deep.
You could have heard a pin drop. The crowd was ringing out with boos and they were silenced emphatically. What a couple of minutes at John Cain Arena, and we are locked horns at 48 apiece. Do not go anywhere. Kendrick Davis up to 12, leads all scorers. Sobey, can the Phoenix answer back? Nice finish.
Yeah. Beautiful drive from Sobey. Outside the frame finish.
Maluach. John Brown and Tim Suarez will be tangled up on the baseline.
Only John Brown's first personal foul. However, Sydney will go to the line to shoot two. That's the Phoenix's 17th foul in the quarter. What a basketball game. High scoring. And still 3 minutes to go in this stanza.
Love it. But this is genuine playoff basketball. The defense probably is not at that level, but it's hard for the defense because of the pace at which these teams are playing.
And the talent level, Andrew.
That last shot, just Henry Davis. Davis just verklempt with his emotions. That's a new one. I've been hanging around John too long.
Well, that should be 2 points. One.
No, it's 1 point. It's interference, not an own
Drew, can you talk me through that one?
But when you guys do that, it's not much. Can't run, okay?
Quick call. Basket interference on the free throw.
It's different than if the ball's on the rim and tipping it back in, then that's 2 points.
It just seems like now the officials have decided that things are getting a little emotional and prepared to make some quick calls, but that's 3 fouls. Now, so expensive foul.
So I'd imagine they'd be bringing Galloway back into the game. He's got 0 fouls and he's playing very good basketball. Sid Maluach down.
Has been an extended break for Jalen Galloway, considering the start to his game. John Cain Arena. Bronx cheers for Kendrick Davis. Guarded by Foxwell. Pulls up again. Davis just has that look in his eye at the moment.
Yeah, right now, I think when you're at home, when this type of emotion is generated, advantage Southeast Melbourne Phoenix.
Well, as you said, Foxwell is doing the job that he has set out to do. He's doing it very, very well.
Brilliantly. Perfectly, he is doing it. This has just been a superb display by Foxwell.
And a good answer back from Kendrick Davis. Passes tipped away. It'll stay with Foxwell. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Throws up a circus shot. Davis bounce pass to the running Maluach. Robertson. Throws it into the side of the backboard. Glover up top. Works on Robertson. Pass is tipped away. And the Phoenix will get it. Lewis. Easy two.
Sydney slow to that loose ball. Should have gotten possession of that one and been away on the break. Instead, the Phoenix capitalize and get an easy bucket inside.
6 turnovers for the Kings, who...
In this quarter only, Drew.
Yeah, all in this quarter.
Robertson. That one's off from the outside. Lewis will come up with the board and get it tipped away. And the Kings will come up with an easy two for Maluach.
Drew, I'm not sure we've seen a game this emotionally charged this season.
I love it, and it shows what's at stake. They're fighting for a top 2 spot and straight through to the semis.
Foxwell tries to go straight through the body of Cooks. Did a good job defending it. And Jalen Galloway will finally sub back in.
Foxwell comes up
a little ginger as he makes his way to the bench.
Yeah, it looked like he just jarred his foot. That contact there could have been whistled a foul.
Ooh, he's gone straight to the locker room, which is never an encouraging sign.
We'll check in with Steph to see if she can get any updates to that before the half. Minute remains in what has been an emotional and high-octane first half. Davis draws contact on his way to the rim.
Late call there by Ken Eric. I think it was the right call, Andrew. But there's just so much contact in this game. And I always believe it's imperative that you protect the shooter. And Foster kind of grazes it with that right arm in there.
That's a no call.
But at the same time, if you're Foster, you got to keep your hands. You got to show palms.
It's that, when the right hand reached across, it's hard for the officials not to think that you've moved forward and made that contact. So technically, again, one of those ones that technically is probably the right call.
Sean Bruce looking to check in for the Sydney Kings. If Foxwell's going to play antagonist on one end, then there's few better in the game than Sean Bruce to play it on the other.
We will see your Foxwell and raise you with a Bruce.
Well, he's been doing it for years, and that certainly understates his game. He's had a fantastic NBL career, besides from the defensive antics. Brown with a mismatch on the block. Spins back into the mid-range, short. Dellavedova guarded tightly by Foster.
Got him.
And how many times have we seen that? Deep crab dribble into the post, up fake. It's not pretty, but it gets the job done.
And it's not that Daniel Foster isn't capable of defending in that situation, Drew. It's just that he hasn't seen enough of it. Yeah. He's not experienced enough to have the savvy to be calm and stay down, and he'll be replaced in the lineup by Nathan Sobey.
We did absolutely everything right, sliding his feet, keeping Dellavedova. Then he bit on the head fake.
Yep.
And with the fadeaway, he just moved slightly forward in the savvy experience of Dellavedova, who's seen it all at the highest level, is able to draw the foul.
NBA champion with the Cleveland Cavaliers in a series that almost cost him his life if you go by the media reports. Had to get on the drip after one of the games. He spent the whole game running after Steph Curry.
Good matchup here. Galloway on Sobey.
Sobey steps back. Downed by Dellavedova. Too short. Robertson will come up with the board. Shot clock is off. 16 seconds. 1 point lead to the Sydney Kings. Can they add to it heading into the half? Delly calls off the screen. Works on a 1-2. Bruce from the outside. Too short. And a 1 point lead to the Sydney Kings in what has been a high-octane, high-emotion first half. Brian Goorjian flying the flag for his superstar in Kendrick Davis. 2 technical fouls, and Owen Foxwell doing what he does best on the other end.
Just a terrific first half of basketball. 2 of the 3 best teams in the competition. The Stars getting after it. A lot of emotion and a lot of scoring.
Well, let's go over to Steph with Xavier Cooks.
Xavier Cooks with me. How's it feeling out there, and what are you happy with?
It's a very physical game out there. It's a real playoff intensity. We're just going to try to play, get some stops. Right now, it's a real scoring fest out there.
Feeling fiery for us. We can tell how much that you guys want it. How do you set the tone for the second half?
I think just not get bullied. These guys try to be really physical, really try to bully the game out there. The rest let John Brown play like a mother effer, but it's all good.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, that's all she wrote. Oh, what an amazing first half. You heard it right there from Xavier Cooks. Wow. He wants a little change in the second half. 1 point lead. We'll wrap it up on the other side of this.
Welcome back. It's a hugely important game in our race towards the playoffs. And what a game it is shaping up to be between the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix and the Sydney Kings. The Kings lead by 1 as we go into the half. Both sides, no doubt, feeling the pressure there. As far as you expected it to be.
It's been outstanding first half, but Andrew, the game turned in that second quarter due to the turnovers by the Sydney Kings. They've been operating so well on the offensive end, shooting the ball well, getting good looks, but those turnovers now put them in a situation where they've attempted 6 fewer shots than the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix.
Yeah, and you can tell by their stats there is absolutely nothing in it. This is a high-quality game, great intensity, and I think beyond just the strategy of the X's and O's, who can control emotions? Who can figure out a way to beat some of the things that have been thrown at them? And but it's entertaining.
As we can expect with our 2 MVP contenders, Nathan Sobey and Kendrick Davis, they've both come out leading the way with the points improved. Who's impressed you most so far?
Well, both guys have been really good in trying to get things done for their respective teams. Kendrick was outstanding in that first quarter, and I believe the Phoenix did a good job in responding and just trying to agitate him and disrupt his comfort level on the floor. And Sobey's been Sobey. He's probing, he's exploring, he's been aggressive, knowing that he's going to be needed down the stretch.
And some of the looks that these players have had, both of Kendrick and Sobey and others, have been relatively easy. Despite the intensity on the defensive end, they've been able to find some space, get to the rim, and then we see the 2 of them going at it. But both of them would be looking at the halftime break and saying, hey, I made a contribution. Slight edge to Davis with the efficiency and the few extra points, 3 assists, couple of boards. Great games by both these 2.
Yeah, but you know my philosophy in big games. I'm less worried about efficiency and more focused on aggregate raw numbers. Do you help your team win by any means necessary?
Well, I would have put to you, do you guys think Owen Foxwell could potentially be the most important player on the floor for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix? Potentially not seen in the numbers, but in terms of limiting Kendrick Davis and also assists.
Well, he started out and he was dropping assists. He already had 6. So I reckon 4 of those come in the first 6 minutes. And then he can shoot the 3 when he's out, but it's at both ends of the floor. He's an agitator. He's a disruptor on the defensive end. And offensively, very crafty the way he can get to the rim, finish in traffic. And he also runs the team. He's got to find a way to get Sobey some good looks, which he's done throughout the course of the season.
Well, he's a team leading +8 in the first half. We saw him go off with a foot complaint. Hopefully he's going to be all right for the second half because he is so important for their championship pursuit.
Well, we expected this to be a big one, but tensions are certainly boiling over. The emotions we're seeing out there. What did you make of this?
Well, we loved it. And I know we come from an era, Andrew, where this was just regular practice, but John Brown, I'm not sure that was 100% legitimate, but he plays with so much emotion and intensity and passion. He's always into it.
And what we're seeing here, both of them are pushing and shoving. There's not much between either of them.
Is that a kick? Is that a kick?
A push. I like to call it a push. But they looked at it, they reviewed it, and they said nothing to see here, which given the circumstance and the context of this game, I think was the right decision. But this type of behaviour generally goes in favour of the home team with a 10,000 screaming fans. And Brian Goorjian, well, he's all about the X's and O's, but also about the culture and showing some love for Kendrick Davis and saying, I've got you, little fella.
Well, don't go anywhere. It's going to be an absolutely mega second half.
It's just what we do here. Those prizes are just the beginning.
And who's the toughest player you ever had to guard in the NBA?
I'm going to give that to James Harden.
He's averaging 40. Oh! James Harden just caught a body.
This was a time where he was like going crazy on his scoring streaks. Played in one of those games, actually in Houston. That's what makes me remember. I was home. I think he had like 50-plus points on us this game. That's probably one of the toughest guys. Having to match up with one-on-one. It's not much you can take from getting, that many points dropped on you, but as a competitor, like, I take whatever I can from it and try to adjust the next game. Playing against the guys that you grew up watching, the LeBron James, the James Hardens, Kyrie Irvings, even playing with a lot of those, great superstar names that you hear, just the experience of being there, that's all a good memory for me. Being in the gym with them, seeing how they work, show up to practice early, professional, you just take a little piece of everything from those guys and you kind of try to acquire it. I play with so many guys, but I took something from each one I played with, and it was a great learning lesson for me just being there.
There is no shortage of NBA pedigree streaming through both of these teams, but you look at Wezawundu and he's been a difference maker across a couple of games this season since he's joined the group.
He certainly has. I think more so. Early on, he was finding his way, trying to come to terms with the league, but he has been a star. And so versatile. Fits perfectly into what Josh King is doing. Long, can get up the floor and defend, put ball pressure on, and his shot has really found its groove over the last 6 weeks.
And so often in the NBL, it's not about what you do and how productive you are, but it's also how you blend into the team's personnel and culture and what their identity is. And obviously, Wezawundu has been sensational in that regard.
Second half about to get underway at John Cain Arena. If you're just joining us, emotions overflowing in what was a high-octane first half. Brian Goorjian a technical, Kendrick Davis a technical, Nathan Sobey a technical, so they'll have to watch their tongue in this second half if they want to keep playing part. Sobey through the middle, tipped away. Cooks, nice pass to Galloway, who looks to go upstairs, but it's thwarted, but he'll go to the line.
Good hard foul there by Foxwell without jeopardizing an unsportsmanlike call, and you see just hacks down hard on Galloway's right arm, prevents Galloway from going in and using his athleticism and eating rim.
If you're in a dogfight, you want Foxwell on your team. He is just out there and prepared to do whatever it takes in order to compete.
You guys mentioned during the half that this game at times has been reminiscent of when you guys played and you were allowed to get away with a little bit more, both off the ball and on ball. Foxwell. Off the screen, Hunter teases from deep. Shot clock into single figures. Step back. Fade away. Tough shot doesn't go. And Wezawundu, who else but John Brown III, picking up where he left off, fighting and keeping it in bounds, and more second chance points as Xavier Cooks flushes an easy one in transition.
And that's hard, and that's what's happening when you extend the defense so far up the floor. But yet again, it was the O boards, 11 offensive rebounds in the ball game so far for Phoenix.
And a lot of those at the hands of John Brown III. Davis, 14 points in the first half, finds his way to the paint. Easy look.
The quickness, Andrew. And when he's isolated in transition like he was then, the Phoenix must show split line help or even strong side help.
It's hard when you've got shooters all over the joint.
Well, I mean, you giving up layups?
No, I agree with you.
Oh, my fault.
But it's the recovery that makes it hard.
Wezawundu. Open his account from the three-point line.
Again here, Andrew, show help.
Daly uses all of his body to get through Sobey there and a nice little hook.
So tough when he puts that left side of his body because he's so strong in the upper body. And then he knows his timing. He can just raise up and make a little flip shot.
Well, that's an example of what Xavier Cooks was talking about at the halftime break. There's a bully ball that Sydney are playing, and Daly just goes in, and Sobey comes back with more finesse than bully ball.
We saw Xavier Cooks at halftime mentioning to says Steph that John Brown might be getting away with a bit more than he should from the officials. And an offensive foul there, the ball go the other way. What did you think of that comment, Derek?
Well, I hear where he's coming from, but it's so hard to deal with John Brown because he's just persistent with his effort, and his effort is at a high intensity level. Yeah. And often you find players like that generally take time off during the course of a 40-minute game. He does not.
And much like a good offensive player will find their way to the line, a lot of good defensive player often gets away with a little bit more than others through sheer reputation.
And again, he gets another possession with effort. And Andrew, he's starting to win me over in terms of where he fits in the all-NBL category.
Right, starting. He's already won me over. He's a special talent.
First team special?
Well, right now, when you look at the record of the Phoenix, it's just he's been an integral part of it all. Take him out of the team, and it's a different look.
Craig gets deep into the paint, steps back too.
Well, I think I'll be going into the basketball nerd room of my apartment this evening and really doing a review of who belongs in that first team All-NBL.
Someone's going to deserve to be there. Miss out.
Bottom of the net from Nathan Sobey.
This one won't.
Lock.
Galloway dared to shoot it. Gets through to the paint, a strong finish.
You see that hesitation dribble? Acted like he was going to raise up and shoot the three ball. Pockets that basketball and pushes to the rim.
Galloway up to double figures now with 11 points. Sobey. Nice defense from Jalen Galloway, swats it away.
And the way these two teams play, and with the possession level, as we see Galloway with elite recovery and a shot block on that Sobey three ball.
Possibly the hardest way to block a shot without fouling from behind. Sobey pulls up from deep. Front iron. Davis will come up with the board, gets it tipped away. Nice pass to Matthew Wax with an easy slam.
That's one where the tip from behind helped more than it hindered. He gave him a run to the basket.
Well, he jackrabbited after the basketball and was able to actually create distance between him and his pressuring defender. Malawach, he knows what to do. Just bounce off the mini tramp and stuff it.
Shot clock at single figured, pass is tipped away. And John Brown diving on the floor, can't save it that time.
Awesome.
Kings will come up with it.
There's already 3 turnovers in this quarter by the Phoenix.
Davis finds Suarez in the middle. Off to Craig, who'll draw the contact, and he'll go to the line.
Drew, in this basketball game, as we look at this Amy replay, and Foxwell does a great job to tip it, but look at the speed from Davis. And as I mentioned before, that guy got high-level athleticism.
16 points, 5 assists for Kendrick Davis on the night.
But Drew, an 8-point lead in this game is like a 3-point lead in most other NBL games.
Certainly is, and this one's going to be a big one. The Ignite Cup final, Feb 22nd, the 36ers taking on the Breakers. The 36ers got it done over Melbourne United here last night. Make sure you scan that QR code, it'll be up again. And you can head over there to the Gold Coast. What a game that's going to be. Not many tickets left as well, so get in quick. $400,000 on the line. Clark, a wild shot, but it lands with John Brown III, who tips it in.
Wasn't a shot. Or was it just he knows that Brown's coming, just throw it up there and let Brown go get it?
Galloway one-on-one with Clark, spins back, nice move.
They spread the floor so well. The spacing of the Sydney Kings is elite, and it helps when you got Suarez, who's their 5, that you need to stay connected because he can knock down the 3. But when you got this much space and your players are allowed to play one-on-one, advantage offense.
Well, it wasn't that way earlier in the season when they were struggling and were off to a bad start in the win-loss columns. They made an adjustment, and since probably about round 9 or round 10, their offense has skyrocketed. And as you mentioned, a lot of it was due to that outstanding spacing and allowing their primary ball handlers and playmakers the space to go to work. And Galloway has been one of the prime beneficiaries of that move.
And they start to share the ball a whole lot better than they did earlier on in the season.
Clark the nail. It's off. Sobey is going to find it again in the corner. Nice pass to Lewis, who gets it swatted away by Craig, who gives him a little stare down for good measure afterwards.
I'm always a fan of the stare down and the psychological tactics to try and make your opponent not feel as confident about themselves.
Did you ever engage in any of those sort of tactics, Drew? You would always do.
When you're averaging 35 a game, there's no need. All the opponent's got to do is look at the stat sheet afterwards.
Oh, he's no good. I left that up to coach.
Shot clock in single figures. 5 seconds. Owandu, turn around. 2. Top.
Size. Great size. And really good touch.
Right now, both teams going bucket for bucket for the most part. Davis working at the top. Maluash. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Fades away. That's good.
All right. His ascendancy has been so impressive. And he just continues to get it done for the Sydney Kings in critical games too, Andrew.
Yeah. Phoenix again go to the mismatch down low with a Owandu. Clark almost can't handle the pass.
He had a lane.
Works on Ian Clark. Gets his way to the rim. Nice pass to Cooks.
Talent, Drew. Talent in space.
It is. It's sometimes a simple game when you have that level of talent.
Ingrid Davis doing his hopes for the MVP. No harm so far. Southeast Melbourne looking to target him on the low block. Owandu from deep.
Drew, what's the answer for the Sydney Kings to try and prevent John Brown from getting his hands on offensive rebounds?
I think you've got to go back to your fundamentals and be more specific on how you box him out, keep him off the board. And because he's not a perimeter threat, a lot of times you're in a help position. And that gives him a runway to the bucket.
Owandu trying his luck again from outside. That time it's good.
2 of 5 from deep. And since his arrival, we've seen him just improve and improve as a 3-ball shooter.
Another great pass from Davis for a Cooks easy 2.
Davis now really starting to dissect that Kings defense. Got 7 dimes to go with his 16 points.
Owandu again from outside. That's off.
Well, everyone right now, Sydney Kings, it's not a highly sophisticated offense. It's floor spacing and just head down, get to the rim. And puts a lot of pressure on your individual man-to-man defense. We look at the live ladder and Sydney jumping ahead if it stays this way for the remainder of the game, but a long way to go.
Well, Adelaide handled their business last night in a big victory right here on this court against Melbourne United.
Dellavedova finds Cooks. He's just getting some very easy work done in the low block.
And again, Andrew, the smartness of Matthew Dellavedova. You can't coach that type of play.
Well, Cooks is getting back to MVP form. He's perfect 7 of 7 from the field in this one. And yeah, a lot of it's been created by Davis, but you still got to put it in the hole.
Clark, 4 seconds on the shot clock, has to put it up. Tries to draw the contact.
And this crowd's starting to get a little bit on edge, Andrew.
There's a tension in it, and they can sense that it's a period phase we're going through.
Sydney have done a good job of just taking the sting out of the building.
It is. They've locked up on defense and been able to keep the scoreboard ticking over on the offensive end. Now this is, well, that's off.
That's Phoenix basketball.
It's got to be Phoenix basketball.
The officials just looking to work how much time is left on the shot clock. 0.4.
And
which is enough to catch and shoot down.
The Phoenix have taken 16 more shots than the Kings, but the Kings are shooting it at 63%. Now, over the balance of the game, Sydney have to be careful.
And a good look at it. The ball hit the rim, so it'll be play on. And a great play there from the Phoenix. Craig out. Force contact. Complete. He'll go down gingerly on the ground. Appears to be in a fair amount of discomfort.
He lost his feet. Landed on his back. See, Clark got underneath him. Completely no malice intended, just wrong place, right time.
Well, you know, Andrew, when you've logged as many basketball minutes as Torrey Craig has, these types of falls feel different at 35 than they did at 25.
No, that's true, but it's always nice when you know you're going to the free throw line to shoot a couple of freebies.
Sometimes the best medicine is a walk to the free throw line.
That's what I'm saying, and sometimes you just take your punishment.
Yeah, well, I think by that shot right there on camera, he does not totally concur with your belief, Andrew.
No, he'll battle through.
And you know the amazing thing, sometimes if the free throw happens to come off the rim, the injury will reappear. If it's the bottom of the net, you're all good.
Well, this is an extended break that they've allowed Torrey Craig. Generally, referees are like, okay, let's step up and shoot these free throws. And a lot of respect here for Craig.
Rattles that one home. A player who spent plenty of time in the NBA after being originally in the NBL and the NBL1 circuits. He's had quite a few basketball journey.
And you look at his numbers before he went to the NBA, almost a little under 12 points a game. It's not like he was a very good player with Brisbane and Cairns. But it's another example, right skill sets in the right team, right place at the right time, and you can get an opportunity in the NBA.
Certainly. 9-point lead to the Sydney Kings. Ian Clark can't eat into the margin. 2 minutes remaining in this third term. Craig, guarded by Clark. Tipped away, Foxwell will come up with it. Glover in the corner. And Foxwell happy to use the mismatch against Cooks, who Hunter strokes one from the outside.
Poor possession, nothing really happening, and Jordy Hunter knocks down a contested three. That's a big play.
By and large, Sydney's done a pretty good job of taking away the three ball. 28% on the night for Phoenix.
That'll be 2 free throws now for the Sydney Kings.
It's the second personal on Jordy Hunter, so no concern there. And as you said, he's on the way to the line.
It's a perfect 9 free throw line. Kings have been there 20 times. 16.
Georgian will give Kendrick Davis a little breather. Smart play here.
Maybe a Cooks bottom of the net on 2 earlier, and again, appears to have corrected some issues. And you have a look at this, the 1 millionth fan right there, Little Mason. It marks the 3rd consecutive season the NBL has surpassed 1 million attendees, achieved 90% into the regular season, which is 7% quicker than last year's NBL 25 campaign. And fan demand has just continued to surge across the league. 53 sellouts, including tonight, already recorded this season, surpassing NBL 25. The league is on the up, Brewy.
That's on fire. And when you see games like this, you know why. Well, a lot of talent.
The pink game in Sydney was a tremendous success. We had great crowds out at Hoops Fest.
So many storylines, so many moments, all heading to culminate in March. As we get into the playoffs, both of these teams are going to feature massively. Dellavedova with a nice little put in. Under a minute remaining.
Playing a great role for the Kings. 7 points, 3 dimes. He's a +10 in only 19 minutes. Just great minutes.
Glover from the outside. A much-needed triple doesn't go for the Phoenix. Sobey gambles on one end. Will they pay the price?
To me, the Phoenix is just settling a little too much from the three-point line in this quarter.
Dellavedova backing his way in again. Malyuach left wide open, front iron. And Tim Suarez will clean it up. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Craig guarded by Lewis. Daly. Rattles out. Hunter will come up with the board. Shot clock is off. 10 seconds remain in this third term. 8-point margin. Foxwell through the middle. Lewis in the corner. Off the iron, Bruce will come up with it, and that's all she wrote on the third term. The Sydney Kings dominate in the third quarter. What does the fourth have to bring us? We'll see you soon.
At Bunnings, we do a lot to keep our costs low by buying in bulk, so you get the lowest prices.
Stock comes in off the trucks, straight onto the shop floor and out the door.
Nothing fancy, just lowest prices.
And when we say lowest prices, we mean it.
Where you find a competitor's lower price on the same in-stock item,
We won't just match it.
We'll beat it by 10%.
It's just what we do here. Lowest prices are just the beginning.
Welcome back to John Cain Arena, where the Kings have to start the final quarter 85-77. I was just keeping an eye on Torrey Craig during the break. There was some thought that he might have hurt his neck in that heavy fall. He played out the quarter, but he is going to start this one on the bench, and he is getting some treatment now. He spent the break massaging it himself and talking to a medic, but it looks like they're getting some ice out now for him, so something worth keeping an eye on.
We'll keep a close eye on that. Thank you, Steph. Grand final preview, living up to expectations so far. How have the Kings built this lead, Derek?
Well, they've just been killing Southeast Melbourne in the paint. They've got 52 points in the paint as Davis goes to work. And right now, Cooks and Suarez are 9 of 9, Andrew. Yeah. And that's just too efficient to try and win a game of this magnitude for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix.
59% for the Kings from the floor. That is a high number. And as I said, I thought that the Phoenix was settling for the three ball. They had 17 three-point field goal attempts in the entire first half. They had 13 in the third quarter alone. So trying to find their balance, but this is what they do. They lead the league in three-point field goal attempts, and they're prepared to back themselves in that area.
Davis fakes out Boxwell and gets the bucket to drop.
Great stability, great lower body strength, a shot fake, and be able to elevate with good technique. Davis with 18 points.
Kings back out to their equal largest lead of the game of 10. What does Geordie Hunter have to say about it?
The only thing that really been strongly in favour of the Phoenix is the O boards. They got 18 O boards.
And they're out on the break here. Foxwell. Well guarded by Suarez.
Galloway, Cooks, and Suarez have not missed a shot in the game.
Now you actual. Can't get it to drop. He's had a couple of open looks from that same wing.
He's on the rebound here. The foul called, and gee, it didn't look like
Wanda did a whole lot wrong,
considering the physicality of the game so far.
Now that's his third foul.
And one, Maluach, a dream start there for the Kings.
And someone who hasn't been mentioned for a postseason award is McQuatch Maluach. When you look at most improved, Drewy, he's someone that you must consider in arriving at your final candidate or winner. Because his numbers have been sensational this season. In particular, it coincides with the rise of the Sydney Kings in the standings.
And he's coming from the lowest base. So you look at some of these others that are in contention from Cameron, I think most people are suggesting that it's his to lose. But he's coming from a lot higher base with his experiences at Melbourne United, and it's just, with all these guys, a lot of it's got to do with opportunity, just getting more playing time.
Maluach will tip that pass away, but going on what you said there, Derek, there's a lot to be said for even if someone's a runaway leader for an award, the consideration, the name needs to be brought up with respect to that category.
And I put Xavier Cooks in that same spot with respect to first team All-NBL. You got to look at his contributions to get to the true team.
Sobey's pass is tipped away, and Davis, a nice two in transition. Josh King, timeout. The Phoenix need to find a way to stop this Sydney Kings run. 77-91, Kings lead. Right now, Josh King, if you're going to win Coach of the Year, these are the moments where you get it done.
This is where the alarm bells, Derek, are ringing very loud. And this is just one game, and you can't overreact to it, but it's an important game in front of your home fans. And they're not out of this by any stretch of the imagination, but they need to catch fire from the three-point line where they've been poor.
Well, the 27, the 26.7%, and we know one of the key elements for the Phoenix winning basketball games is knocking down threes. Now, the volume's not too bad, but the efficiency is poor, Felix.
And we haven't seen the same energy out of Southeast Melbourne than what we saw in that first half. We saw Owen Foxwell getting under the skin of Kendrick Davis. It feels like they've left him relatively untouched in the second half, and we're seeing it right now. Kendrick Davis dominant with 20 points and 7 assists. Josh King, currently, according to many, the clubhouse leader for Coach of the Year. What will he be able to come up with to stop this Sydney Kings run? We have a look at the Mitsubishi Motors three-point leaders here, and that man there, Nathan Sobey, tied with Bryce Cotton up the top. Does he have many left in this final term, Derek?
Oh, no doubt. He's going to get them up, and now he's in a position with his team trailing by 14 where it's imperative that he make an impact on the offensive end.
He's going to need to haul in this 14-point lead, another overboard, and gives him a chance. But given the pace of play, this is a 12-point lead that's not like a 12-point lead in most games because of the pace of play. And the high level of exchanges of the ball is always going to give Phoenix a chance.
Davis, shot clock on single figures. Galloway, front iron. Foxwell will come up with the board. In the Phoenix string back-to-back buckets. That one's another turnover.
Kings length, such a factor on the defensive end. They really minimize passing angles. That was a foul on Foxwell.
Gee, was it?
Delay of game, SEN!
And a delay of game warning just to rub salt in the wounds here as we look at this replay.
Well, maybe got him on the right forearm.
You threw the ball away.
Wrist.
Been fairly cantankerous towards a few of the calls tonight, Drewy.
No, it's been a very hard game to officiate because of the intensity that's played at. And it's very easy sitting here when you get 7 angles on the replay.
Davis up top, shot clock to single figures. Guarded by Glover. Gets to his pull-up.
Man, that's so tough.
Kendrick Davis steering that MVP directly in the eyes.
Glover did a great job defensively. Oh, boy.
And a turnover for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. Maluach will try to fight for it. And Sobey will let it roll out of bounds on the baseline, which is not usually the result you want.
Amy replay, and I wouldn't have done that. Look at Davis, though. See, Glover's carrying a hand, but you've got to make him put it to the floor. Yeah, he might get blown by, but right now at this stage of the game, you're down 12. You rely on help.
Wow.
Just don't let him step into a 3-ball.
I'd hate to have you graded my essays.
Why?
It's a tough judgment right there. I'm not sure.
The Kings will hand it right back. John Brown gets the ball advanced. Glover pulls up, gets it tipped. And a smart play there by Nathan Sobey off the knee.
You know what I hear where you're coming from, Andrew. You want to...
It's context of the game. That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
In general, that might be the
Make
right
him
play.
dribble, help, kick. Somebody else shoot the basketball.
Else beat you.
Yep.
And one big bucket from John Brown. If someone's going to get this Phoenix unit fired up, it's him.
You almost feel like they need another moment. They need a Foxwell moment. They need to generate some emotion into this one. Try to find a way to get the crowd engaged.
Well, they decided to go with Ian Clark, who's 2 of 7 for 6 points. And we know that he loves these moments, and he has a track record of being able to get heated up quickly. But you're right. They need a hit right now, because Sydney looked very comfortable.
12 points with the pace of play that the Phoenix play with. They can eat into that very, very quickly, but the Kings doing a great job of staving them off. Galloway turns down the three-point look.
I love
Suarez buried in the paint. Davis, he's been unstoppable tonight, gets his way to the lane. Do as you wish. Good luck stopping this man.
And Andrew, you touched on it earlier. The key to this possession was outstanding spacing.
It is, and trying to deny Davis, that is the antidote. When you're up and in so high away from the bucket, that blind pig action, hit the post, you're going to have an advantage. And as you look at the shot charts, 10 of 16, it's another exceptional game by Davis. And each and every time Phoenix have been able to get a bucket, try to get some momentum, Sydney have been an elite at finding a way to get the scoreboard ticking over. Oh, Brown just elbowed Suarez
in the gut.
Brown's lifted his intensity.
Team up. Clark can't get it to go. And to give Kendrick Davis his flowers, in that first half, he was emotional, especially that first quarter, and his coach, Brian Goorjian, copped a technical defending him, and it appeared to be a turning point. He has been on fire, unstoppable since then. Davis into the paint. Another two, another foul. Yet again, he goes to the line. An MVP-esque performance so far.
Well, we saw... Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
We talked before about putting pressure on, and this is what you're exposed to if you go too high. But the help's got to be there a whole lot earlier to get it out of his hands. When he can get this deep, he is shown right throughout the season and last season. He can finish amongst the tall timber as good as anyone.
But the difference between this season and last season is he's more patient, he's selective, and this season he has been devastating in 4 quarters. We saw last Sunday up in Cairns, he's just ripped that game apart in the 4th quarter.
How much do you put this down to his synergy as we go to a timeout with Brian Goorjian? Brian Goorjian's a guy that's coached in China, where you deal with imports that have the utmost pressure on them, and they've got to do every single thing in the game. Do you think some of that has allowed Brian Goorjian to now just have this fantastic synergy with him, where they seem to trust each other so much?
Yeah, there's no doubt. He's been around a long time. He's seen all different types of personalities, and he knows how to bring teams together. Word was in the off-season that this guy might be a little hard to handle, but you're no doubting the skills. Brian Goorjian says, well, I can control that.
Well, he is hard to handle, Andrew, for other teams.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, last year there was a lot of back and forth about the relationships that he was having in Adelaide, and no evidence whatsoever. Now, winning has a whole lot to do with that, but also the leadership and the culture that Brian Goorjian is building and is a leader in that category helps. And to me, that's not a foul. Where's the foul?
And it looks like this challenge is going to be successful. The 2-point bucket will obviously count, but I'd imagine
Who's the foul called on?
Won't be making his way to the free throw line.
I think it was called on Ian Clark. They assumed that he got him on the arm there.
Okay. No, well, to me, that was a fresh air, but...
Still a tremendous finish.
It is. Let's have a... Challenge is... Yeah, he just goes by. I'd be astounded. Yeah, there we go. Challenge is successful.
Challenge is successful. No foul on the play, but the basket counts. So SCM ball on the baseline.
Drew, this is a tough one right now for Josh King to try and digest. To feel your team would be down by this amount at the crib in a huge game like this.
And the Sydney Kings certainly sending a message to the competition right now. Josh King, not too happy with the officiating.
Trying to have a word and not happy perhaps with how the challenges are going.
Said you can't challenge everything.
Well, you can if you get them right.
Galloway out in the open break. Nice little fake and a hard foul there. Galloway keeps his feet, and John Brown.
Good courage there by Jalen Galloway. Little ball fake. Brown fouls him hard. And some players would choose to make business decisions there and find a way to kick that ball on as Brown and Suarez decide to have a discussion. Clark wants to join in.
They're going to review this for an upgrade, but I think it's just, you lose balance when you're in the air and you're just coming down to stop the play. I don't think, he didn't hit the head.
It certainly didn't look, the fact that Jalen Galloway kept his feet looks like it's probably going to help in this circumstance, but they do have the rule anytime the arm comes down and across. They review it. It was certainly the intent was to stop Galloway from getting the ball up, but I think he handled it perfectly.
Yeah, I think that's a good hard foul. And I'd be disappointed if they upgraded this.
And they don't.
That'll remain a regulation foul.
Sydney have done an outstanding job of generating fouls from the Phoenix. They've gone to the free throw line now 25 times. And when you look at this game and how it applies to a championship run for the Phoenix, in the quarter in which they were able to force Sydney to turn the ball over, the second, they were able to build and come back into the game. But in any other quarters where Sydney have looked after the basketball, it's been one side.
Glover can't convert from deep, and Mitchell will come up with the ball. We haven't seen too much of him in this second half.
And if you're relying, the Phoenix, on winning off of turnovers in the postseason, teams are better. They don't turn the ball over as much in the postseason.
Davis guarded by Clark. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Nice pass down low to Suarez. What a performance.
Ball watching.
Kendrick Davis.
Ball watching, and just a terrific pass. But the defense loses track of the man, and he finds you.
Glover will find Clark. Looks to get to his shot. Heavily guarded by Davis. That one's off, and the Phoenix just struggling to get into any real offense.
They're going to live and die by the free ball, by the look of it.
Glover, nice pass to Brown.
What a recovery. Great hustle by Torrey Craig.
And that's what you want to see. 20 points on the scoreboard. Still chasing it down like that. Glover and Clark will sub out of the game for the Phoenix.
And Clark, between them, Glover is 1 of 5, and Clark is 2 of 9. So it hasn't been a great return from those two.
And the Phoenix are, at the moment, Andrew, 0 of 5 in this fourth quarter from the three-point line. And overall, they're 8 of 35 for 23%.
And don't go anywhere, because if you thought this game was a barnstormer, the Bullets and the Taipans coming up next.
Shout out to Brisbane and Cairns, respectively, as we look at
Big Merv Hughes.
Great Merv Hughes.
Tell you what, and his friend's trying to grow the similar mustache, but just not quite reaching its full potential. And Max Gawn with the little ones. All the stars coming out. Unfortunately for them.
Yeah.
Southeast Melbourne haven't quite put in the second half performance they would have wanted, but what a warning shot to the league from the Sydney Kings. And maybe from Kendrick Davis, to anyone voting on the MVP award, as he notches up yet another assist. He's one off the double-double.
Well, now he's finding people. It's standing around and watching him work. And we spoke about the help, but you lose vision. Simple back cut, easy too, because he's willing to make the extra pass.
And as the game has progressed, he's just continued to execute and pull all the right strings for the Sydney Kings. And he's done exceptionally well from an emotional point of view, not to have gotten caught up. He's settled himself emotionally, and he's just been the dominant player in this game. That's a good pass to set Craig up.
And off with the layup, and John Brown will come down with yet another rebound.
this Sydney team is going to be, you think of a best of 5 or even a best of 3, it's going to be hard to compete against them because of the depth that they have, and everyone's just gotten on the same page.
Well, the next thing, if they continue to win, is can they catch Adelaide for the top spot and have home court advantages? Iwandu steps out and fouls Davis. Davis will go to the line to shoot 2 as he comes over and gives a little smirk to the commentary position.
That's that emotional maturity. It doesn't worry him anymore. He's focused on the scoreboard. We talk so much about peaking at the right time in professional sport, and the Sydney Kings appear to be timing their run quite well for the postseason. Suarez will check out of the game for the Kings.
So this is a small lineup that they go with, really trying to match the three-point shooting that Phoenix have, probably with the exception of Brown. Foster has demonstrated that he can knock him down, but with 3 minutes and 43 seconds remaining, you're down 20. You need to catch fire.
Well,
so Brian's got a squad on the floor that can really stretch the defense.
So he's going to come back out again. Tim.
Right now, the referee's just checking some of the legalities.
We were subbed out in the wrong way. They wanted to take Suarez. The wrong guy came in. You can't come in and out. When you've already checked out, you can't come in and out unless there's been some time gone off the clock.
Semantics.
Rules.
Torrey Craig still.
If we don't follow them, are we even different from the animals?
Torrey Craig still feeling around at his neck. Still alert, a level of discomfort.
And sometimes, Derek, I'm sure you guys have had plenty of those sort of knocks throughout your careers, but they're the ones that hurt the next morning more so than they do right now.
I remember Andrew and I would have discussions later in our careers, and Andrew, you always said that you just suffered from general body soreness, where I was more of an acute injury sufferer later in my career, and both can be equally as debilitating when you come to the game.
And so can old age. It's undefeated.
Mine was usually medically classed as a hangover.
Thank you.
Dowley will try his luck to heap more pain onto the Phoenix. Foster. Mitchell from the nail. A second half to forget for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix.
Now, Sydney have racked up some really impressive victories this season, but given the context, Andrew, this would be number 1 or number 2, in my opinion.
Well, the circumstances around it, on the road, packed stadium, and what's at stake, trying to lock up a top 2 spot. It's impressive, but they've had some impressive ones earlier on too, which we tend to forget about because they were early in the season, but they dug themselves a nasty hole that they had to get out of. People claiming that Gorge is too old, system's all broken. Well, no, it's not.
Obviously not, and this will take them to 14 victories out of their past 16 ball games.
Brian Gorge, a coach that has just got his fair share of unwarranted criticism through work with the Boomers, through the NBL. When someone's been around that long, eventually they come for you.
He's better this season than he was last season. And Dellavedova going to work in the paint.
And this is going to look like, and it will be a comprehensive win, but I've said this before, when you think of Phoenix, that you can be disappointed, but you shouldn't be dejected because there's a lot to like about where you're at and what still lies ahead, and that's going to be one of the challenges Josh King has, is to keep motivated and don't overreact to one bad half of basketball.
Speaking of overreacting, do we zone in on the awards season right now? We've got the Coach of the Year pre-game. I was very, very high on Josh King. I think body of work, I still sit with Josh King and the Coach of the Year award. Kendrick Davis, I think it's so neck and neck between him and Bryce Cotton that his performance in the context of this game potentially has pushed him ahead 3 to 4%. It's that close for me.
It's so tight, and you look at this ladder, live ladder. Sydney had the advantage with the percentage points, but Adelaide will stay ahead. It's going to be just a thrilling couple of final rounds here in the NBL, but Felix, I think I have Brian Gorgian just slightly ahead of Josh King in the Coach of the Year, and the same goes for Bryce Cotton over Kendrick Davis for the MVP. But by no means, Andrew, have I locked that in stone.
No, and we're not going to criticise you for that because it's been one of those seasons. But the advantage Brian Goorjian's got is that it's been more dramatic because of what took place at the start of the season. But this Phoenix team and Josh King, what he has done has been spectacular.
Yep.
Both on and off the floor. Full house here, the entertainment package that Phoenix put together as good as any team in the competition. And they play a really exciting brand of basketball. Sure, it hasn't come together today, but across the season, they have been a real fun team to watch.
And let me tease the audience for the postseason because, Felix, there stands a real strong possibility at some point in the postseason, we will see Southeast Melbourne versus Melbourne United.
Throwdown during the finals. Well, right now, Melbourne United are licking their wounds after the game to Adelaide. They've probably got more against them right now, working to get into that position as Cooks almost swipes it off Mitchell. Heavily contested. Front iron.
And speaking of Josh King before the game, yeah, of course you want to get those top 2 spots because you're straight through to the semi-finals. But because of the fever break and you've got the playing games, you're potentially not going to play for 3 weeks.
Yep.
At this stage of the season, that's not what these players want.
Well,
they want games.
Correct. And Josh King also did not want a 2 for 14 on the offensive end in this 4th quarter.
Or an 8 of 38 at 21% from three-point line.
This one has truly gotten away. And a block shot there by Torrey Craig.
And Torrey Craig's ability to close out on shots late is unbelievable.
You know, it's great basketball instinct. It's outstanding physical attributes. And great timing and desire.
Doubleheader action coming your way. Don't forget the Bullets in the tie pants. Jack McVeigh, the $1 million man. What a season he's had. He'll be in action. And I'll tell you what, I'm not sure that the Brisbane Bullets will have too many answers for him on the defensive end. Torrey Craig fights, rides his way to the rim for a 2.
Well, it's hard to have answers when you don't have players, Felix. They've just been decimated by injuries up there in Brisbane. It's almost impossible to believe that they could have that bad of luck.
Foster. Guarded by Goodrick. Gets into the paint, tries to muscle his way through. The official will find a whistle, and he'll go to the line for an extra.
Goodrick's played some important minutes for the Kings throughout this season. This is only seen some brief time here at the end of the game, but he's shown that he can step up in big moments as well and played meaningful minutes.
And he played meaningful minutes when they were turning their season around.
Correct.
And, you know, there was a stint there where he was just a beast on the offensive glass, proving himself as a legitimate role player who Brian Goorjian can go to.
And for Sydney Kings, percentage matters. And this is a really, really strong win in so many contacts. As Lewis tries to muscle his way through, will draw contact and go to the line. The All-NBL first team is going to be a fascinating decision because it's going to be, no matter what, there is going to be arguments. There are so many players who have made their case so far this year to be in there.
And with the unfortunate injuries of certain players who would probably have been in contention also, it's just really made it a difficult proposition to represent that first team accurately as Brian Goorjian.
You only got 2 spots to think about. You got 3 spots you don't even have to think about. Bryce Cotton and Kendrick Davis, Nathan Sobey. But then, yeah, then it gets a little tricky.
I mean, unless I've missed some of your proclamations in the media, I don't remember you coming out and saying who your other 2 guys are.
I'd like to get all the evidence.
That's too safe.
You know what? If I ever get in trouble, which is most likely, I'd want you on my jury, Andrew.
Goodrick and Ryan into it. Do they have any NBL1 history, Andrew?
Well, Ryan is in NBL1 South, and
Goodrick is in the East.
He plays for North.
One of those multiple Sydney. There's a couple of Sydney teams that I forget the name. The NBL1 over there still working its way up the quality standards. Gotten a lot stronger. Gotten a lot stronger across the board. A lot of the WAs. as well right up there. See, what I'm looking forward to, guys, is the fact that there's been some serious emotion in this game. And Southeast are going to go and lick their wounds. And I'll tell you what, when these two teams meet again, that is not going to be forgotten.
It's never a good feeling to drop a big one like this in this manner.
Mitchell, one last attempt, can't bank it in. What an afternoon for the Sydney Kings and Brian Goorjian. So much on the line, second versus third, jostling for position. The Sydney Kings now sit second on the table and can call themselves the most informed team in the competition. A dominant second half. And the man you see on screen right now, Kendrick Davis, 30 points on what was a massive night. And you know what? He did it when they pushed their lead out. This wasn't late game stat padding.
He was outstanding, and he really took over when they needed it most. But collectively, as a team, the Sydney Kings defensively restrict Southeast Melbourne to 34 in the second half and only 11 points in the fourth quarter, Drew.
30 points, 9 assists, and had a moment in that first half where we thought, well, maybe he's going to get pushed out of it, but was able to contain his emotions, keep his focus on the job at hand, and another stellar performance by him.
And you mentioned, Andrew, not to knee-jerk react for the Southeast Melbourne Kings to this result. It's an aberration, as I've heard you say before.
Yes.
You've got to watch some film, forget about it, and move on.
Well, that's right, because across the entire season, that they've shown that they play at a highly consistent level, and they need you just have a downer every now and again. And the second half was a downer where they weren't able to convert from the three-point line. 8 of 40. That's a lot of misses from the land of plenty.
Certainly wasn't their night from the outside. And Kendrick Davis, what a night he's had. He's with Steph.
Felix, no surprises that this man is our Foot Locker player of the game as the MVP race heats up. Congratulations, it was a massive road win. You guys just keep on getting better and better.
Yeah, we knew what was at stake. We finally healthy, and yeah, we made a statement today.
It was a tough tussle for a while there, and then you managed to pull away. What was the key to that happening?
Great coaching. Bo, Sean, Gorge for Coach of the Year, and then we got great teammates. 1 through 14 all stepped up. I love my teammates, man. I love my coaches. I wouldn't trade them for nothing.
Fiery at times, we can sense the emotions. They're calling for him to be MVP.
MVP, come on now.
Well, we can sense the emotions out there, and we can sense how much you guys really wanted that victory. How would you rank that victory?
Yeah, we need everyone. Got great team. We got great leadership. Daly, X a first team MVP. Yeah, man, I can't keep talking about my teammates, coaches. They keep us prepared. I could go on and on about my teammates, man. I love them. I love X. I love Daly. I love them all, man. I love Gorge. I run through a wall for them.
There must be so much belief amongst this group.
Yeah, I mean, we weathered the storm. At one point, we was playing with 7 players. 7. And everybody going through injuries, but as you can see, it's not hard to win with that. And we did it. We speak to Gorge. We speak to the dudes at the end of the bench. Tyler, Brucey, Goody. I mean, everybody. So we done been through adversity, so we comfortable now.
Thanks so much. You've clinched the second spot, now for first.
Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank you.
Oh, Kendrick Davis, what a superstar. And Andrew, I go back to when you said Brian Goorjian copped a technical foul protecting his superstar. And there is love and unity within this group. You can't speak higher of the Kings and this man right now.
And I can't speak highly of the way in which he's handling this situation. He's heaping praise on his teammates. That's all part of it. And Brian was very demonstrative in the way in which he was going to support his superstar, and that has an impact, and it's why I think Kendrick goes out of his way to give an extra shout out to Gorge in those circumstances. So it wasn't by accident that happened with Brian. It comes because he's a experienced guy that's able to find ways to help motivate his team.
And you look at his points, he has 30 points, and they were all significant. There are no fluff points or statistics in what Kendrick Davis is accumulating in these big games for the Kings.
What a performance, what a win, what a moment. Kendrick Davis doing it all for the Sydney Kings. We'll wrap it all up on the other side of this.
This program is brought to you by Hungry Jack's and Bunnings Warehouse.
The Sydney Kings and Brian Goorjian with an ominous warning to the rest of the competition. Do not sleep on Sydney. Kendrick Davis, impeccable performance, leadership from Dellavedova. They were firing on all cylinders. And we look right now at the standings.
It's tight, and all of those three top teams have a chance to finish first, but great team contributions from the Kings. I love Xavier Cook's 8 of 8, 20 points.
And such is the league, you can't rule out any of those top five, so it's going to be a fun race.
Certainly. Well, from the top to the bottom, we had to Brisbane taking on the Cairns Taipans. Jack McVeigh, the $1 Million Man in action. Thanks for tuning in.
This program is brought to you by Hungry Jack's and Bunnings Warehouse.
It's the one thing I love about the group. We're going to compete. We're going to fight.
We're going to compete and fight. We don't want to sit here and talk about what could have been.
Here he goes again,
Andrews taking it upon himself. Andrews.
Oh, wow.
The results are not what we pictured at the start of the year, but the group
just loves turning up for each other.
Holt comes over the top and puts a lid on it.
Get this man the ball, please.
You want to play the right way and play as a group and play to win.
Opens the door for Agnan to Mojave King.
We go on the floor with who we have. We don't make excuses.